Hey everyone, welcome back to Dominica Storytime. While I take my makeup off, I will talk about Storytime from Dominica. It is such a good feeling to know that you are loved, and it is a nice thing when you find love. When you find someone you love, it is a very, very nice thing. And the reason why I'm saying that is that my grandmother has how many kids she had? My grandmother had I'm trying to remember how many kids she had. I had to actually count how many children my grandmother had. My grandmother had 6 children by the time my grandmother had 6 children, and when she married my grandfather, she had 3 children. Then my grandfather left because back in the day, people left to go to England for work. England was taking a lot of people from the Caribbean to come to work in England. And also, the French island, Guadeloupe, was also taking people from Dominica for work in Guadeloupe. So my grandmother had 3 children with her husband, and then he left to go to Guadeloupe to seek, a better life, make money so they can survive. Things are hard. You have a wife and 3 kids. It's hard. So my grandfather left and went to Guadeloupe. And apparently, according to my grandmother, he was gone for a long time. So while he was gone, my grandmother had to find ways to survive because she has 3 children. And my grandmother, while going to Roseau, she met this handsome young man. And, things develop. And she ended up having 1 child with him. And my grandfather still is not back. So she ended up having a 2nd child with him. My grandfather still not back. But by then she and the man, beautiful young man, handsome young man that she met, she find out he has a wife. So she cut that relationship off. And now, instead of 3 kids, she has 5, and she has to feed them. So she toil the soil, grow the garden, which is the farm, raise pigs, sell banana, everything to survive, right? And then, who came back? My grandfather came back. Can you imagine when he came back, how my grandmother maybe felt? Because here this guy gone for how many years? I think she said he was gone for either 2 or 3 years, and left her with the 3 kids. Have not returned, have not heard from him. Now she met a guy who's giving her money, helping her with the 3 children, and end up getting 2, so now she has 5. And now she find out he has a wife and children at home, so she cut that out. And then her husband came back. My grandma, when she was telling me these stories, I was like, oh my God, what did you do? I was a little kid, I didn't quite understand the impact. And she said, when he came back, he left her with 3, he came back and he met 2 more. So he asked her, who are these children? He said, she said, he asked, who are these 2 other children that's there? Because they're younger than the 3 left, So my grandmother had to sit him down and explain to him how she ended up with these 2 other children. Love will do a lot of stuff. My grandfather did not complain. He just picked up from where he left off and treated all the kids like his own. All of them. And on top of that, he had another one with his wife. So she ended up with 6 kids. And that is interesting. And that's what I say. When you love someone, there are so many things you can work out. Some other person maybe say, I don't want to work this out. That's too much. That's 2 kids. They're not mine. And all of that stuff. But my grandfather didn't say that. He just waltzed in. They had a conversation. He understood and took care of everybody and had 1 more and had 6. And they live very happy. My grandfather, he's not my grandfather he's not my dad's father, but he was married to my grandmother, so that's my grandfather. And then the man who she had the 2 kids with, I never met him. Never. I don't know. I think he died before I was old enough because they live in a whole other village. Well, far on a whole other side of town. Not close at all. So I never met him. But I met that side of the family years later. My aunt, my uncle, and everything like that. And they also told me the story because their mom knew my grandfather had a girlfriend, which was my grandmother. You see the story? My grandfather, my biological grandfather, wife, knew that my grandfather had met my biological grandmother. But the man that I'm calling grandfather is not my biological grandfather, but he loved me to pieces. He raised all the children, and then my dad ended up leaving and going to St. Thomas and taking care of all of them in the end. And I loved my grandfather. I call him Papa. My Papa was really nice to me. I enjoyed hanging with Papa. Papa would give so much jokes. He was funny. And then, it was just nice. And we never had a problem. He accepted me as he'd be like, come here, come sit with Papa. That's my grandfather. I loved him to death. I love my grandfather, my biological grandfather. I just never knew him. But my Papa, that's my grandfather. And he loved my grandmother like nothing ever happened. He loved her like nothing ever happened. So true love does happen. True love does have mercy. True love does have grace. True love embraces all the problems that comes, deals with them, and still love the person. The person he loved, he still loved her, even though after he came back and met her with 2 additional kids, that were not his. He loved all of them the same. All of them. Can you imagine that? How often does that happen in this day and age? My papa and my dada, they were my pride and joy. I love them. I didn't judge them for that. I mean, she gave me the story. I didn't judge her for that when I got older. That's just life. Life happens. And sometimes you gotta navigate and figure out how to fix things, work with things. And in the process, sometimes additional kids come through. You just have to make sure that everything is in the open and let everybody deal with it the best way possible. But my dad and my papa, they were my heart. So this is my little Dominica story time about my grandfather and my grandmother. Hope you enjoy. My life has been vast. So there will be plenty stories. So, and these are real stories. When it's not real, I will tell you. But these are real stories I'm telling you. And I mean, I love my papa. I loved him very much. I loved my papa. He has since gone a long time, but I mean, yeah, he see me, he'll be like, Vil, come give papa a hug. It was so much fun. I will talk to you again soon. Have a wonderful, fabulous day. And I hope that you get the love of your life. Someone who will understand you for all your faults and your flaws and your perfections. Bye.